Hi everyone and welcome to Club 4 episode 22 of Rolling in the Isles, an FM20 British Isles Journeyman series with me, the United City FM. Welcome along. So in today's episode we're going to do a little bit of a transfer update. We're just towards the end of the January transfer window, not quite to the end of it yet, but there is an update to give you. And then we will play the Manchester Derby. My City side will go away from home to Old Trafford to play Manchester United. We sit in first. They sit in fifth. Can they dent our title hopes, or will we continue our march to the Premier League title? There's a couple of games to catch you up on as well in terms of what's happened since the last episode. So I hope you'll enjoy this particular episode. Let's get into it. So welcome back to this episode, and I say we've got the Manchester Derby coming up in a little while, but there's a couple of things to catch you up on first. And firstly, let's go into the squad page, and just at the bottom here you will notice that there is a player not here anymore, and that is Vasic. Vasic has left the club. Eventually, I got fed up this season of him not taking his chances and not being potent enough as our striker, our main striker, so I had to move him on. Now, we made a huge loss on him. If we go and have a look at the transfer history page, you can see at the bottom here, we sold him to Celtic in the end for £33 million. It's not a great deal, really, considering how much money we spent on him in the first place. But he just didn't do it for me. He'll do it for Celtic in the Scottish League, I have absolutely no doubt. He played well enough in the first season for us, 16 goals in 32 games, but 2 in 14 in the Premier League this season is just not good enough, and we can't hang about waiting for him to get better. We had to make a move, and so I did that, and so we moved him out of the club. We don't have his replacement in just yet, and I will leave that till next episode just because I'm not 100% sure which of a couple of options is going to actually come to fruition and we'll get. So I'll leave that till next episode, come back and see who the replacement is, but there is somebody in the pipeline that I'd like to get, so we'll have to wait for that. But that's going to basically do it for the transfer update. There's nothing else to tell you since the last episode. That's the only bit of business that we've done. I think Tauber went out as well for a fee, and that's what we talked a bit about in the last episode, if I remember rightly, that he was going to go. So he did. So overall, we're looking very healthy with the finances, and I can let you know that we'll probably be spending about 50 million on a striker replacement for Vasic. So still after that we're going to be very, very good in terms of our finances. So that's going to do that particular part of this episode. Now we're going to move into the recent results and just check out what we've been doing in the most recent games. So it has been a little bit mixed. You and I were together last for this Liverpool match here in fairly early January when we'd made a couple of key signings. They haven't both worked out brilliantly so far, it must be said, but there is still plenty of time for them to settle in and sort themselves out. But then after that, we got a Birmingham City win. Sorry, FM Llama, if you're watching, but that's just the way it happens sometimes. At home, we beat them 2-1. Not a bad result for them, really, is it, against the league leaders? Then we drew 1-1 with our previous side, Derby County. We put the full-strength squad out, but it just didn't perform particularly well on the day, and we got a 1-1 draw away from home. That's not terrible, but it's not ideal, is it? And then we came up against Liverpool in the FA Cup, and what we did to them recently in the league, they did to us in the FA Cup, and we couldn't cope with them on the day at all. You can see, if we go in and have a look, we played again the full strength 11 pretty much, but it was Ashley Luca, Sir Ashley Luca, that came back to haunt me from my England manager days, and he scored a hat-trick, and we could not in any way cope with him. Now, obviously, this is the guy I'd love in my side completely, I really would. But it doesn't matter how much you bid, they're just not interested. So I can't get him out. I've tried and tried and tried. I've even put in, at various points in, well over a £200 million straight bid, and they weren't interested. So it looks like we're going to miss out on him. But yeah, we didn't do very well on that particular game at all. We didn't show up, and they absolutely dominated us. And he was just the beast of a goal-scoring machine that we know that he was. We bounced back though. We played a slightly rotated 11 in the Leeds United game in the second leg of our semi-final in the League Cup, and we went through to that, and we play Fulham in the final in about a month from now. So I would hope that we would get that piece of silverware. That looks comfortable for us. In terms of what that means in terms of the league position that we find ourselves in, we're doing pretty well, aren't we? We're sitting top of the table, 6 points clear, with a game in hand over Arsenal, Tottenham, Liverpool, Man United. So you can see that we've got a bit of a gap opening up. If we beat United today, that well and truly puts them well and truly out of the picture and really advances us towards the Premier League title after 23 games we've played. So we've still got quite a few to go, but I think we're doing pretty well. As you can see, we runners up in the Super Cup. We got knocked out by Liverpool in the FA Cup. We've got that Fulham game in the League Cup, and we've got Lyon coming up fairly soon in the first knockout stage of the Champions League. And it will probably be some of that we look at a little bit more closely moving forward if the Premier League still continues to go as well as it currently is. Can we get to the final of the Champions League and end this series? That is going to be the end point, whatever the result of that final is. So we'll see as that competition progresses. But there we are. That's the recent stuff that we've been going through. We've got some big games coming up. But today is pretty much the biggest one of the lot, isn't it? The Manchester Derby. So let's go and check out in the tactics page what we have in store for Manchester United. So here we are on the tactics page, and this is the new formation that we are definitely now using, 4-2-3-1. We're still in the tiki-taka. Do I move to the Gegenpress? That's the question. I think it's a debate that I've been having a lot internally for the last few days as to whether this is the most capable side of it. If we look at some of the attacking midfield line, you can see that the stamina and the work rate isn't great in Ulysses. Olat or Noel. Let's go and have a look at Noel. And his work rate and stamina is pretty decent. Olat, let's have a look at Olat. And again, his stamina and work rate isn't particularly solid. And then McCann has usurped Foden in this role. And again, it's not terrible, but it's not brilliant either. Is that the sort of attacking midfield area that we should be playing the Gegenpress with? You let me know what you think in the comments below, because I definitely want to find a way to get this particular formation playing as well as it can do. I'm not sure the vertical tiki-taka is it. But we'll maintain it for now just as we progress into properly transitioning to this particular formation. We have moved it into the attacking mentality. Against Liverpool, we were at balanced, and over the last couple of games, we've upped that through positive and now into attacking. And even though we're going away to Manchester United at Old Trafford, I know that that's a big game and form goes out the window, but I want this side to attack them. They're sitting in 5th. And they're not as potent a threat as you might think. So we need to dominate the game. So that's why I've gone for that. Olat starts on that right-hand side just because Noel has come into the club and on the face of it is doing pretty well. 7 appearances, 2 as a sub, 2 goals, 6 assists. Not too bad. But until you realise that most of that, of what we're seeing, has come from the Champions League, not for us, for his previous club Barcelona. What he's done for us in the Premier League is 1 start, 2 subs, no goals, 1 assist, 6.77 average rating. There is a much better player in here than he is showing at the moment. So Olat comes onto that right hand side and we're going to have to just take it a little bit easy with Noel and bring him in bit by bit. Roberto is doing a little bit better in terms of he's made a debut for us and is looking pretty decent, and so he'll continue to start in that central midfield role. So all of that means that in this formation that we're still kind of getting used to, we have Romero in goal, Rivero and Romario in central defence, Magnoni at right back, Cruz at left back, Camavinga, Roberto and McCann in central midfield, with Olat on the right, Ulysses on the left and Okoro up top. now that Vasic is gone. So we have a bench of Cork, Cooper, Victor, Matilla, Noel, Cesar and Gibbons. So let's get into today's game, the Manchester Derby, and see what happens. So I've gone with the assistance team talk of the media have been very, very praiseworthy of you recently. Go and put on a good performance and show them that you're deserving of it. And let's see how we get on. Away from home is always going to be tricky, but I genuinely hope that we can find a way to wrestle the game off United and dominate them in terms of attacking play and see if we can get a positive result. And so far, 17, 18 minutes, literally nothing had happened. We've now had a shot at goal, which is great. But that first 15 minutes, it looked like the ball was left on the centre spot and nobody touched it. But there's a fantastic free kick that I think possibly hits the frame of the goal or the goalkeeper, and probably a combination of both, and eventually the goalkeeper gathers the ball and settles it down. We get our first chance ourselves to work an opportunity down the left-hand side, back to Rivero there, having taken the throw-in. He's our central defender, but he's got a very good long throw on him, so he's on throw-in duties. And then there was a bit of a wayward shot, wasn't there, really? I think a couple of our defenders had come up from the back to get involved in that, and maybe it wasn't quite who we would hoped having those sort of chances. But again, we work another throw-in down this right-hand side and work it into Camavinga in midfield, across to Roberto at the top of the penalty box, and to Ulysses, and that's a fantastic strike by Ulysses, right-footed, cut in off that left wing to get involved with the play, with the overlap of Cruz on his left-hand side. That was always the sensible decision by him, and found himself sitting just at the top of the penalty box. Roberto finds him, and he takes it so early that it befuddles the defender in front of him, and the goalkeeper was unsighted and didn't get down quick enough, and we take a 1-0 lead just before half-time. Can we get through to half-time holding on to that 1-0 lead? It looks like we just about might. And you can see in terms of the match stats, it was a fairly quiet first half, really. It looks like we cancelled each other out to a point, but we do have that one goal advantage, which is fantastic. So we'll go in and we'll passionately say, I'm happy with the performance, keep it up. And see if they can go out there and give us another performance like that. And then we'll go into the shouts and we'll just praise them in the shouts also and see if we can get some good motivation from them. But it's United with the ball. They found it at themselves at the back with the ball. They're working it out from the defence. They're playing a little bit of a dodgy game, but they do manage to get it out down to this left-hand side and then cut more centrally. But we've set our shape back up again to defend. And can we get a foot in and take the ball? We get a head in from Cruz down the left-hand side. Ulysses picks up the ball and runs at his defender. Riser challenge, gets it onto his right foot, crosses it in, but it's not a particularly good cross. Behind the play a little bit, and United get it cleared and counter-attack. Mabry onto Gomez, onto the top of the penalty box, Mark down the left-hand side, into the box, and then he chooses to shoot, and on the follow-up, they were very, very unlucky, or probably not so unlucky as they didn't do a very good job, because the goal was wide open for them, having had that first shot parried into the middle of the box, and they didn't make the most of it, did they? And we've reached 67 minutes, still 1-up. And it's still a fairly kind of quiet game, isn't it, really? McCann has taken the ball, and the cross comes into Olart. And Noel, are you watching? Because you're going to have to play an awful lot better than you have done to get into this starting lineup. Olart has come back in and has proved why he's been a favourite of ours so far. Noel is a fabulous player, but he's not going to usurp somebody that's playing so well. And Olart, on his left foot on the volley, powers that ball home from a good cross by McCann, did everything right there on the cross, got it onto his right foot, found the right space to put it in, and Olart makes no mistake. And at this point, we'll make a couple of substitutions and see whether we can just rest a few players. We've got Cruz on a 6.6, so is Okoro. Now, he's been brilliant recently. He's got 4 in his last 5 games. He's done brilliantly well, but today, not quite his day. So we're going to take those 2 players out, and just because of their player rating wasn't high enough. And they've got one more to do. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to continue to reward Matilla, who is playing very well when he gets the chance. And so Roberto can come and have a rest for a little while, and Matilla can play the rest of the game for the last 15 or 20 minutes of this particular match. And can we come away with the good points? 2-0 up with 10 minutes to go. You would hope so. But there's no foregone conclusions in this particular match, is there really? And it's Man United with a good corner kick to the near post, but the header isn't accurate enough and it goes over the top of the bar. The goalkeeper wasn't really troubled by it, was he particularly? And now we get a chance to try and move the ball down to the other end of the pitch if we can. Matilla into the centre of midfield, takes the ball very well and then gets the ball stolen from him. And again, it's marked down the left-hand side for Manchester United, coming at us straight down the middle. And then he has a very weak shot. And that's been their problem, hasn't it? This is what we're going to find, I think, in the analysis page, is that we've played okay, they've played okay, but they did not make the most of their chances, and we did. And that is what has enabled us to win this game, I think. So into the team talk, passionately we'll say, I'm very happy with the result and the way that you played, just to keep them delighted and moving forward. And then we will go and check out the analysis page, but I do think we've got a fair idea as to how we won this match. But let's go check it out. So it's a very interesting heat map, isn't it? Absolutely. That you can see that they United work down the left-hand side much more. We seem to work a little bit more regularly down the right-hand side, but it's quite spread out. The heat isn't there. We obviously didn't have quite as much of the ball as we sometimes do. You can see that we work the wings very well. There's the evidence that United worked the left wing much harder than the right hand side. So was that a good tactic for them? I think we're quite strong down our right hand side. So I think, that was always going to be a bit of a challenge for them. In terms of player ratings, we had that 6.6 from Cruz, who came off. But we had 8.3 from Ulysses. The first goal from him was fantastic. And then the likes of Granero and Greenwood were the best and worst player for Manchester United. So if we move forward and we go into this particular page, this is the page I like to spend a bit of time on. And we are going to put both of these up and just check them out a little bit. So these are the missed opportunities for both sides. And you can see that I think we had a reasonably good amount, but United did too, and they didn't take them. Loads of their shots went wide of the goal, and that was their big problem, whereas our spread were much more on target than theirs were, and that gave us a much better opportunity to win this particular game, didn't it? If we go and have a look directly at the shots for both sides, look at this section down here for Manchester United. That is why they struggled. They had 2 shots on target in this particular analysis page, and we had many more than that, and that gave us the advantage, and eventually we took it. Now, we were a bit wayward here and there, and yeah, 1, 2, 3 of our shots were not quite where I would want them to be, but this kind of spread here, although quite central, I would still like to be peppering the sides of the goal a little bit more. But ultimately, it gave us the advantage and it made us win the match. And there's not much else really to talk about on that, is there really? We could see it in the game that United were just not taking their chances. And today, we didn't create as much as I'd have liked, but what we did do was take them when we had them. So there we go. Let's go and check out what we're going to be up to next episode. So back on the schedule page here, we've just played the United game, 2-0 win, good win for us, keeps at the top of the league, which we'll show you in a second. But what are we going to come back for next? And what I'm thinking at this point is, because we won this game and we are fairly clear at the top of the Premier League, I'm going to switch the focus to the European Champions League for a little while and see how far into that we can get. And what we're going to do is come and play every second leg of our Champions League knockout games right the way through to the final if we can get there. So that's going to be the focus. If we go out, I'm hoping we win the whole thing, of course. If we go out of it, then we'll refocus on the Premier League towards the end of the season. But just for now, I don't think it needs our focus, because I think we're doing very well. So we're going to come back into early March and play this second leg against Lyon in the Champions League for our next episode. But just before we go, it will enable me to show you what happens in the cup final as well, which I fully expect us to win. I won't be coming back for it. We've already seen some cup competition wins in our time in this particular series. So I will play Fulham and hopefully win that comfortably, to be honest. And then we'll come back for that second leg in the Champions League. So just before we go, let's go and check out the Premier League table, and you can see that we've now played our 24th match along with pretty much everybody else around us, United on 25, and it puts us 9 points clear of Arsenal and 10 points clear of Tottenham just behind them, and then there's a gap to previous season's winners, Liverpool, and then Manchester United. We are looking absolutely fantastic for this Premier League title. If we lose this now, I think I'd quit because I don't know what else I could do in this particular scenario. But there we go. That's why we're going to switch the focus to the Champions League a little bit. I think the Premier League is almost done at this point. So thank you very much for joining me today. It was a good result, a good way to play, wasn't it? It was a little bit of a quiet game, but we got 2 good goals and we got the win, which was really important against our arch rivals. So that was fantastic. So thanks for joining me today. I hope you'll join me next episode as we switch the focus to the Champions League. Until then, though, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and join my United City community. The more the merrier. If you haven't clicked that like button on this particular episode, please do that. It helps me get seen by loads of other people. Until next time, though, take care of yourselves. I'll see you very soon. Bye for now.